So today I wanted to talk about how polio has affected me mentally, socially, and spiritually. I, growing up, um, I think, it was, I think that most of my challenges actually physically came when I was young, because I had to really learn how to move my body and function having this disability. And so I just kind of, as anybody does, I adapted and I figured out how to do things differently. And so that was everything from, figuring out how can I be involved in, gym class to, just being able to enjoy things that, everyday people get to enjoy in terms of, going to the beach or the amusement park and things like that. So, I think that there's always a challenge when you have any sort of physical disability, but it's your mentality and how you go about life that can really, you know, um, determine whether you're gonna, live a life of enjoyment or misery, right? So I luckily have always just had the spark inside of me and have always had this glass half full, um, you know, perspective. And so I think that, that was how I didn't really know that was just life for me. Like there was no other option. And so I just really accepted that this is who I am. And I just, made the best of it. And I think that's all anybody can do when they are in a position where they don't really have any other options. So I would say that mentally, it took a lot of time for me to really be comfortable in my skin and in my body, and to really fully accept that this was who I am. But it's not something that you do overnight. It's definitely takes time. I think that it's a constant journey, and a constant journey that I'm still on, in fact. And so I would say that mentally, it's one of those things where you it really comes down to like how you want to live your life. And if you want to be the victim and be like, woe is me, I have this disability, I can't do things, then that's one way to to live your life, but then you're going to be really miserable. And the other way to look at it is, okay, here's my situation, and let me figure out and adapt, and just try to make the best and most of it. And so for me, I've always just been really good at that. And I also, it took a lot of years, but I have realized how profound and how much I have affected other people in my life by just the mentality I have because of who I am, and having this disability. So I don't think that polio really has, I don't think it's really taken away from that much in my life, and I'm very fortunate for that. I kind of am pretty, much like everybody else. I just can't run. And so, but I do pretty much everything else. And, I think that also I realized that everybody is, put in a situation or given certain limitations. I wouldn't necessarily even call it limitations, to be honest with you, because you, like I said, you adapt and you figure out how things work for you. And so you get creative and resourceful. So yeah, I mean, if there's any sort of like hardship or challenge or adversity, you just kind of have to, if you're not a person that is able to adapt, then it's going to be really difficult for you. But I challenge everybody to really figure out how they can make their lives better despite whatever their circumstances are. So I realized, that for me, I could use this as a tool, as a teaching tool, and also just really you know, be a person that really lives by like this person that is with this like positive, I don't know, ray of sunshine, I guess, essentially, that's inside of me. And, you know, I'm not saying that every day is easy. You know, I have my challenges. Obviously, there's definitely, you know, sometimes where I'm not, I don't know, just not having the best of days. But most of the days I am. I really am. I'm very fortunate that I guess overall I have, you know, I really have a great life, and I'm super fortunate and grateful for that. And I think it's important to surround yourself with people, good people in your life. And I know for me, it's really started with my family, and I literally, I don't think I could ever express just how grateful I really am for my family. So, and how blessed I am. But yeah, so I think, you know, I look at my situation and I realize that this is actually a gift, and I can use it. And so for me, I've been able to use it in the sense that I have been able to create actual societal and social change in the way that people perceive people with disabilities. And so I'm a huge advocate for disability inclusion and you know, representation, especially in media. And it took me a long time, obviously, to realize that this was an asset and that I could make a difference with the fact that this is something that I, you know, have to deal with the rest of my life. And as far as I think, you know, how polio has affected me socially, you know, I don't really think that it has. And because I think that, yeah, well, you know, I mentioned the part about like figuring out how I could participate in gym, for instance. But, you know, I think that I always had this like go get 'em, go getter attitude. And so you know, I don't think that I never really felt like I was left out, you know. And so there was always different ways of adapting and making me feel included, even in gym class. And so I don't feel like I missed out necessarily. But I will say, you know, I think my difficult years in terms of my disability and accepting myself and my image came probably, I would say, I was like more in my, you know, like middle school, high school years. And then those are the years where I really, you know, any teenager is awkward with their body to begin with, and then, you know, you add having a disability on top of that, and then it makes it even more awkward. So, but I never, you know, had any difficulty with, you know, making friends, and I'm so fortunate that I was never bullied. I know I've heard so many stories that, you know, kids with disabilities will, like, you know, reach out to me or tell me that like they're being bullied, and it just truly breaks my heart. And I don't think that I mean that just shouldn't be tolerated, and there's no reason to put somebody down. And it's just it's very sad, and I just really feel for the kids and teenagers that have to deal with that. So yeah, I was really fortunate that I didn't have to deal with that. But I think that, you know, like I said, socially, I've always just been able to make friends, and I've had great friends, and I really appreciate all my friends in my life, and just every person that has ever walked into my life and that I have, you know, come in contact with. They've always, you know, I walk away, you know, whether that person is still in my life or I've, you know, only met them briefly. I think that every person you meet really does touch you and does affect you, and there's always some sort of takeaway from every human that you come in contact with. So and as far as spiritually, I honestly I don't think that I really got a sense of that. And I mean, yes, you know, like my dad's a minister, I grew up in the church, but I think as in terms of my disability, I definitely was really upset and hurt, and like, why me, when I was younger. And I remember specifically, you know, crying out and being like, God, why did I have to get polio? And I was just so upset and so frustrated about it. But, you know, now that I'm older and I've, you know, my journey has led me to where I am, and I'm I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm living the life that I'm meant to, and I'm making the most of it. And I think that, yeah, you know, every day you know, you have the opportunity to um, just be of service and to um, you know, be this like beacon of light, or you know, light and love. And I think that, you know, just being true to who you are, and it's really helped. I mean, spiritually, it's really helped to be even more accepting of my situation, and you know, my body and my disability. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about who I am, my strengths, and you know, my willpower. And I think that, you know, it's a constant journey. It really is. All of it is. It's every day is different. Um, and you know, I think that everybody can learn from each other. And the beautiful thing is you know, when you're faced with a difficult situation or a challenge or physical disability, you see life a little bit different, you know. And it's it makes you really appreciate the things that most people take for granted. So I think that's another reason why I have a very good outlook on life, because I don't take anything for granted, and I really do appreciate everything that's in my life. And I didn't necessarily always. I think I'm a lot more conscious of it now, obviously. Um, you know, with being grateful, but I think that I've always kind of uh, you know, just been appreciative of what I can do and what my body physically can do. And so I know that in a lot of ways I'm very fortunate. I'm extremely independent. I live, you know, in an apartment in the city. I get around really easily. I, you know, can take off and go on vacation if I want to. You know, I can stand for a decent amount of time, and you know, as much as like a normal person would that doesn't have a disability. And until their feet start hurting, kind of situation. I walk a lot. You know, I think that all those things really play a part in being able to just fully embrace who you are. So I encourage everyone, just whatever your situation is, you have to just kind of think about, like, who do I want to be, and how do I want to live my life. And I think you can either accept exactly who you are, or you can fight it. And it's easier just to accept it and to move forward in life and make the best of it.